Hello, this is a support video for the C# challenge that is for object-oriented programming, the fifth one, all about encapsulation. So remember, the idea of encapsulation is wrapping up a private attribute so that it can be accessed in a way that you want it to be accessed with a public method. So an attribute for a class is like a variable that belongs to each instance of that class. So in this case, we have a user class where we can store an attribute of a username and a password. And currently they are both public, which means any other class can also access or edit, change these attributes, and we don't want that. We want to give certain protections to this sensitive data, but also provide some interface, some way of being able to access it or control it in a way that we want. So that's where encapsulation comes to the rescue. We want to let's see. First of all, we need to make these not public, so let's make them private. Both of these can be private. That means that only this class can access those attributes. No other class can. Then let's test it as we go. It won't work because we failed a test. Let's see. The user does not contain a definition for get username. So we want to make username read-only. We don't want people to change their username, but we do want people to be able to access it. So it needs to be public. It should return a string, and we'll say get username, has no parameters, and it just returns that private data, which effectively makes it read-only. So let's see, hopefully we'll get past that error this time and see what the next one is. Doesn't matter how many times you attempt it, at one point you don't get any penalty for running it multiple times. This time we need a check password, and check password should have two parameters, one for the username and one for the password, and the username comes first and the password comes second because the order is important. Right, let's see, public, it returns a Boolean value, so true or false. Check password. So we need to provide some parameters. Parameters are inputs to your method, and a method is just a procedure or a function. In our case, it's a function because it returns a value. We want a username and a password. Now we need to be careful here because we have a parameter with the same name as an attribute. So if we want to check and see if they're the same, so if username is equal to username, there's some ambiguity here. We don't know which one we're talking about. Well, C# does. C# knows that we refer to the parameter unless we specifically say that we want to refer to the attribute, because it's the version of the attribute that belongs to this particular instance of the class. So we can say if the usernames match and the passwords match, then we can return true, but why don't we just return that Boolean expression? That would be a lot faster, because that is a Boolean expression. It evaluates to either true or false. That's a Boolean expression. It evaluates to either true or false. And if we combine them both with a logical AND operator to say that we need both of them, then that's also a Boolean expression which returns true or false. All right, how are we doing now? Unexpected symbol equals on line 11. What have I done wrong? Oh yeah, I've used the assignment operator instead of the testing for equality operator. Yeah, we did it. Awesome. So remember, encapsulation is wrapping up a private attribute in a public method so that you control read or write access in the way that you want to.